Hi, welcome back to our never-ending series of occasional podcasts. I'm Nate Taves. Joining me today is an old friend from college. He is currently in the midst of a big transition or two that we'll hear about, but I'm going to introduce him by just saying his name, Mike Imholt. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nate. Always a pleasure. Well, not always, but glad to be here this evening, but not next.
That would make sense if we're recording tomorrow night. As is, this is our whirlwind tour.
Yeah. Gotta get my voice on record before it disappears, huh? Before I lose it.
That's what she said. I should warn you as audience members that from the outset, we do a lot of dissecting pop culture by mocking it with its own jokes and whatnot. So you'll get to hear some of that with us now, and when our next podcast shows up, you'll be hearing a gentleman we'll be talking about shortly. So that's my fair warning to the audience as of right now. I make no promises as to when or where or how any of this will come together. But, so with that, let's talk about how we met. We discussed this briefly prior to recording. Let's hear your story. They hear my voice too much.
Sure. Let's see. Well, I first arrived at the same college as Nate in the fall of 2007. I moved back to the Burlington area in the summer of 2007, and
we can say it's Burlington College. I mean, it's pretty public information on the internet.
Sure, look it up, or not. Anyway,
your pick.
But yeah, I arrived at Burlington College in the fall of 2007, and I really didn't know anyone. It had been quite a while since I had been in the area, so didn't know anyone at the school. I saw Nate and our next guest, Mr. Casey Curry, sort of around here and there. Didn't really talk to anyone. Had actually made it a point to avoid socializing for the most part because my goal was to be a serious student, ladies and gentlemen. Did not work.
As Carlin says, it's all bullshit and it's bad for you.
Yes and yes. So anyway, it was the spring of 2008 when I actually took a class with Nate, Hollywood and Its Alternatives, which was a class
predicated on disaster of Hollywood, yes.
Yes, exactly. And, it was one of the requirements that I take a class about
cinema.
About cinema or film, and I chose that one just by happenstance, and Nate and I were sitting in the same proximity for the entire class, and we had some interesting discussions during the class, which
wound us up in trouble.
Yeah, kind of upset the instructor, but you know what?
Heidi Berkowitz, who you'll hear about on a different one of these.
No comment.
That's
what she said.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's basically how we met, and of course we talked during class and after and before, and kind of evolved from there.
I don't want to take any credit as the one that pulled you out of your shell, but I almost think that you kind of came out of your shell during that particular semester.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree because, like I mentioned earlier, I was trying to avoid socializing for the most part because I really was concerned about studying and paying attention and finishing all my work and being prudent. And it was because of my experience the first time in school, which was a complete and total disaster.
Which was back in the early 2000s, if memory serves.
That's correct. It was the 2000-2001 school year, and it was also at Burlington College. My first foray into college, and it went like bleh. So,
and that was just the film department, no less.
Yeah, that was the film department, me, and everyone else I knew. So
I'll drink to that.
So will I, and I'm out.
I'll catch you one. Just keep talking until you get it right. For those of you who are not in the privy to be in the room with us, we have a series of notes that we always kind of work off of so that people can kind of know what to go back to if we go too far off course.
Which can happen.
Oh, absolutely, and it will later. So I guess you want to give a rundown of our career together and I'll interject when I think of something?
Sure.
Right.
Well, let's see. After the class, I think it was probably towards the end of that semester, spring 2008, which would have been April, May-ish.
That's about right.
Yeah, Mayish is a bad rash. Don't get it. Anyway, Nate.
Does it come with pickles and onions?
And a special sauce. The ingredients of which are a national secret. Now,
that is code for they spit in your food around here.
Exactly. Yes, and they all do.
Especially at China Express.
Whoa, hey.
No, I'm kidding. They got good food. Go ahead.
They do. I won't tell you who else actually does. But,
right. We call them the grease pit.
Yeah, we'll let you figure it out. It's a nice surprise.
And they're ridiculously priced, too.
There they are.
That's what she said.
But anyway, after the class, I think it was probably upon arrival back after the summer period, probably the fall of 2008, that Nate brought up the idea of doing a live show to benefit LD Worldwide. Learning Disabilities Worldwide. And I thought, hey, I'm about as untalented as you're going to find.
You and I work together.
So, I wasn't entirely sure exactly what I was going to do for the show, but then Nate provided a very detailed kind of blueprint for how things should work.
The fact that we had that guy in the booth kind of hindered it, but we did what we could.
Yeah, exactly. No, the show was a lot of fun. A lot of memorable moments in the show that maybe Nate has shared with you before. Maybe he hasn't, but maybe he will.
Not yet. If you want, I can share those now, or we can save that for the Shooting the Shit episode.
Yeah, we'll save that for Shooting the Shit because there was a lot of shit going on.
Okay.
And this is rated, R for after hours because the dialogue may be a little crude. Would you agree?
I would say that this is a PG-13 that we're playing with right now by current standards of the MPAA board, but don't worry, we will get R-rated for the next few. So stay with us. Stay tuned.
Fair enough. So, let's see, probably fast forward to, oh boy, how far ahead are we going to fast forward here?
I think we jumped to spring 09, I think it was.
Was that,
That's when I approached you about the television show.
Oh, yeah. The ill-fated TV show.
Which you'll also hear about later on, so stay
yeah,
with us.
in in theory and in concept, a great idea. It was a public access show about the college, presenting ideas and work of the students at the college. Free promotional material, by the way.
Especially for those who didn't get that on the 12 memos that went out.
Yes. Free promotion of the college, showing off, by the way, some very talented individuals, I might add, who were attending the college, artists, and actually went through one season without a hitch under the leadership of Alan Nichols. Yeah, who
assistant director to Robert Altman, also worked on music for his movies, and is still an actor every now and again in something. The last big one being Mistletoe and Holly, a Christmas movie a couple of years ago on the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, I'm glad I avoided that one.
It's actually pretty good. And
we like Alan.
Yes, he did wonderfully on such hits as The Player and Shortcuts and A Wedding he co-wrote, and A Perfect Couple he co-wrote, and he was going to try to turn that into a Broadway musical. Sorry if I leaked anything there. I would love to see that as a Broadway musical, and I would love to see him reprise his role from the movie because it was so funny. I was rolling around on the floor laughing.
A very talented individual. What the heck was he doing there? Anyway.
Slumming, apparently.
Anyway. So there was one completed season with some very interesting guests.
Artists. You can see them on this channel, YouTube.
Yes, exactly. Artists, photographers, poets. Again, very artistic, very talented individuals. So the idea was to continue that in a second season, this time without Mr. Nichols, who was off in Southeast Asia at that point.
Mr. Kane,
that joke will probably make its way into the last segment. That's
what she said.
But anyway, it was an opportunity to continue the show. And Nate approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to be, co-producer?"
An occasional host.
An occasional host. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And we
had several misadventures.
Yeah, I was involved in a car accident, so that canceled the first week. Yeah, it started off rocky, and it ended rocky.
No, it didn't end rocky. Rocky did better than that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Cut me, Mick. Cut me.
Who are you calling a Mick? I'm not even Irish.
I guess I was talking to myself.
Adrian!
Yeah, Adrian. Bring me a pint of Guinness.
Put it on, my dad, but give him anything he wants. That's what she said. Anyway.
So, we had this very good concept. Now, we did have some difficulty in tracking down guests for season 2. We had a lot of flaky individuals who agreed to film and then couldn't find the time and then cut out. And so, that part was chaotic. But in reality, what we ended up with was a finished product in the filming of, 4 episodes?
Let's see, we had 2 with the Director of Student Services, Sarah Mel. We had 1 with you as a guest, 1 with me as a guest, 1 with our soon-to-be talked-about friend as a guest, 1 with a gent named Dylan Podiak.
So that's
6.
That's 6 by my count.
Yeah, and then I believe we had planned 1 with an audience, but that never came to fruition for various reasons.
Yes, exactly. So we had 6 completed episodes, and basically the format was this. We'd have a host, either yourself or myself, and we'd interview the individuals who appeared about what they were doing at the school and about certain topics that they were interested in, and
Other than women or men.
and you know, there was a lot of comedy. There was some dancing, some
where I actually hyperextended my knee, no less.
no, this was physical comedy.
Our friend who's about ready to show up, let's quickly run through his stuff. Our friend's name is Casey Corey, who you'll be hearing from in the next 2 episodes. Funny guy, really nice, sweet guy, but we do have to give you a couple of fair warning stories to kind of give you an idea of what to gauge with as far as when you're hearing him. So in case it doesn't sound coherent, there's a reason for it.
Well, yeah, basically this. And again, I want to second everything Nate said about Casey being a great guy. I mean, there's just certainly nothing that we say is meant in ill humor. And we certainly would never, we're not here, you know. Hey, we all have our eccentricities, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We just take them, exaggerate them to the point, a la Rickles, that we sound like we're shredding people, but we're not. You know, we're just having some fun. So
yeah, it's a friendly ribbing in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had gone to the Church Street Tavern to get a lunch during the production of Burlington College Presents, the TV show that was canceled several times, and so it became kind of our standard place to go every now and again. And during one such outing, the president of the college, Jane O'Meara Sanders, who you'll hear about in later podcasts, and later on in this one perhaps, and others in this series, was doing some things that not everybody agreed with, especially myself, and I believe you at that point.
Yes, that would be correct.
So our friend Casey was defending her on some undefendable points, or so we thought. So when the bill came around, pick it up from there. What happened?
All right. Well, the funny thing about our stops at the tavern were that it seemed impossible for them to divide the bill amongst the three of us with any accuracy at all. So we all...
Cash, credit cards, whatever.
Yeah, it became a real ordeal because for some reason it was just too difficult for them to comprehend.
It was a bigger production number than anything you'll see in Mamma Mia or Mel Brooks's The Inquisition.
It's very, very, very true. Well, what happened was that
we had cash. You and I were paying cash. And our friend who just walked in, and we'll introduce him momentarily on the next podcast. But we did do the cash and card.
Okay, and so 2 cash.
Yeah, 2 cash, 1 card. And there was a lovely little mishap where we said, okay, here's a 20 in cash, and I think it was like a $5-10 deficit for whatever the reason. And so the woman came back and said, whoever's paying cash is a little short. Do you want me to just put the rest on the card? Now, the bill was approximately $100. It was slightly under, but for the sake of an argument, let's round up.
Sure.
$5.
Sure.
So, you want to take it from there?
There was a large remaining amount that was owed, and the waitress came over and asked, do you want me to put the remainder of what's owed on this card? Nate and I looked at each other.
Yeah. Actually what had happened was we looked at each other and Mike, goes, what do you want to do, Nate? and I looked at it because we were the ones paying cash, and Casey said, "Yeah, oh yeah, I'll pick up the tax, the tip this time." We said, "Okay." So we just looked at it, and we said, "What do you want to do?" So I said, "Yeah, it's about right. Go ahead." Which, for some reason or another, just struck you in a funny way. It sent you over the
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, sent you over the deep end there, like you were about ready to fall over laughing. And you even, I think, said at that point, I don't mean to laugh, Casey, because Casey was talking. Sorry, by the way, that we're talking about you behind your back. What you hear?
Hello there, sir.
Top of the morning.
Beer?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll finish up this story and then we'll get him a beer and get situated. So, the young lady had said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Yeah, it's about right." It sent you over the edge, and you said, "Well, I don't mean to laugh, but Nate just said the best line in the history of paying bills, knowing it was incorrect." It just sent us all into a bit of hysterics. And it was almost worth it to see the expression on your face, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was, and if anyone is wondering why we find this humorous, if we haven't explained it well, it was because it was about wrong. It could not have been more wrong.
It was horribly off. But, yeah, those are the things that make the best stories.
They do. Yeah, if we had all paid an equal share and just walked out and went about our business, we'd have nothing to share here.
Yeah. So, that leads us to latest news. I'm going to do a quick little hit on something I saw on Facebook.
Oh boy, that lovely social media site that I never log on to. Hi there, Mark Zuckerberg. Is that the guy who created it? Yeah. I don't like your site.
Yeah, how about David Fincher?
I like David Fincher.
Why? He's the guy that directed Social Network.
I don't like David Fincher.
That's what she said. No. Barry. All
right, so back to Bookface.
Yeah. Bookface. I get the feeling I'll see him in a lineup at the police station next Tuesday. What the hell?
Number 6. Can you step forward?
Soderbergh, you're next. Social Network 2. Anyway, MySpace. Anyway.
Yeah, well, the story of failure.
Yeah, right? Anyway, no, so I had seen this posting on Facebook, and it was from your wife. My understanding is some congratulations are in order.
Yeah, absolutely. If we want to share that info, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I accept your congratulations.
And hopefully you'll forward them on to the expectant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. One of many factors that kind of leads me into where things are today, which is that I have only 2 weeks left in the great state of Vermont, a place that I consider my second home. I will be leaving and on the 16th, actually 2 weeks from today, and one of the reasons is simply as much as I love Vermont, it's a very expensive place to live. If anyone has
never been here,
yeah, if anyone spent any time at all here, and I'm not talking about vacationing. If you attempt to live here, it can be very pricey. So. Because my family is growing, I'm going to need all the money I can muster, and that's going to be easier for everyone involved back in the state of Ohio, my home state. Will be moving there in 2 weeks. And
let's back up a second here. What comprises of your family at the moment?
one wife.
Although
I never considered more than one, and I always joke to all polygamists, who the hell would want more than one?
My joke to polygamists is if I laid all the girls end to end and cut them in half, I get the part that talks.
Oh, well. Well, okay.
See, I got no luck. I readily admit this on 7 different podcasts, so have fun.
Yeah. Feel free to
dissect that any which way you can. That's what she said.
All
yes.
Right. So as of now, there are 3 in my family. There will be 4, and we'll be located in Ohio, and probably what will be the final large move in my life. I mean, relocating.
Well, let's not, count all the eggs before they hatch. I mean, let's say, for the sake of an argument, that these lead somewhere, and we wind up, or I wind up getting a show of some kind based on it. I dream big, don't I? But if something like that were to come about, I would kind of want you as like the Ed McMahon part, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I can appear at people's doorsteps telling them they've won the Publishers Clearinghouse. Look at me. Look at this face. Who could say no? It's a face made for radio.
You did do well in silent films, didn't you?
Hey, leave my failed attempted film directing out of this.
How about film acting?
Leave my failed attempted film acting out of this. I want a raspberry.
It wasn't golden either.
No, it was one that was peeled off someone's foot. Now,
it was a hastily put into word.
See, he warned you that we'd get off track.
Yeah, I did. That's what she said too. But anyway, no. Yeah, so as I say, congratulations to you and Mrs. Imholt and your other little girl, if she will take it as having a sibling in root.
She's very excited, and I'm going to put her to work.
What glue factory?
Hey now! Well,
no, there's no hay in glue factories.
No, the hay is at the beginning of the process. So you feed the hay.
Stockyard,
yeah, there you go. See, starts with hay, it ends with glue.
That's what she said.
Here's to Elmer's.
Super sticky. Yes, Maggie, my dog is requesting to go out, so let's wrap this thing up. So, your latest news is you are leaving on to head to the lovely state of Ohio.
Yes, the Buckeye State.
For cheaper living, I believe.
Yeah, it's yes, it's for that, and also there's going to be the need for a larger support group, and my family is there, and my family is very committed to helping, and my mother, for example, is retiring in June.
I'm so glad you didn't just stop at committed.
No, the good thing is, members of my family,
notice the emphasis.
Yes. But, yeah, we'll have a larger support group, people who will certainly help. And it's always...
You have to kill.
Yeah. And it's always good to have that strong network. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a village idiot. So,
and how are your folks?
Well, as the village idiot, But anyway, the one thing I will miss about being here in Vermont even though Nate is no longer living here, is that I do have a very good group of friends here, both from my college days and from my current employment situation. Just a good group of people. I don't really have friends back home in Ohio. Certainly not friends of the same caliber. Most of my friends from Ohio have moved on.
Oh, 44 Magnum.
Yeah, exactly. They were smart. They got out. They didn't go back either. Once they got out, they stayed out.
Yeah, but you remember Cuckoo's Nest. Once you get in, you're not getting out again.
That's right.
That's what
Hail
she
to
said.
the chief.
That's what she said. It writes itself.
It does. It works with everything.
Yeah. Well, almost.
Sure, absolutely. No, I could see myself working on a television program at some point in the future. I mean, let's be honest here, Nate. I'm not exactly doing anything earth-shattering at this point.
Neither am I, but wait for a later podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When we get to the bottom of this case, we'll tell you what the. We'll tell you how it's solved.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
Wait till later.
And so with that, up next is our show with Casey Corey, and I think we actually have two. So we got two with him.
Do you want? And I'm sticking around.
Yeah, sure are.
Ah, damn.
What are you complaining about? You got booze. Anyway, with that, this has been another podcast. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Our apologies for running a little bit longer than usual on these things, but beep happens, and here we are. I had already done all the cursing up front, so I had to beep that one.
Very nice.
So that said, that's our PG-13 show. Stay tuned for the R-rated coming up next.